Someone asked me, how do I stay motivated in doing what I'm supposed to do and showing up? And they wanted me to share these things with you. So, on this YouTube channel, what we are doing is assisting tiny businesses, tiny organizations get their marketing system set up so they can excel and get to where they need to be and do what they need to do and do what they want to do. We're here to give you all the tools and everything. And so on Monday, we're going to do motivational Mondays. Yes, yes, yes. I know everyone does motivational Mondays, but I am Monica Michelle, and I am coming to you with a little motivation to talk about the different things and the different tools and the different processes and systems that I set up to keep myself motivated. And hopefully they'll motivate you too. So make sure you let me know in the comments if this works for you, if this helps, if this is something that I think you think I should keep doing. Well, one thing that I wanted to share this motivating Monday is when it comes to um, just keeping myself motivated. I had to I had to learn myself, right? I had to think of something outside of myself to keep me moving. And sometimes I think of things inside myself to keep me moving. So I have the tendency, and I started doing this when I was a kid, is I would love to listen to people's stories, right? So I literally would either go and talk to someone and say, "Oh, so how did you get to do this? How did you become the fastest runner in the class? How did you learn how to make cake so well? How did you do whatever you do?" Or I would watch documentaries or what do you call it? Biographies about people's life because that motivated me. I would find out what the identifier, what is the quality in them, the characteristic in them that they've shown that I was able to identify with. And then I would say, okay, let me apply that to my life. What does that look like? So I can't think of, I'm trying to think of someone off the top of my head. When I was even, it was funny because Goldcast, Goalcast. If I find their page when I go to post this before today, then I'll make sure I include the link in the description. But I was working my job, and those people were aggravating me, and I didn't want to be there anymore. And I knew that my time was up and it was almost time for me to leave. But I had to stay until the assignment was over, right? And so I was like, how can I stay motivated to do this job when I don't want to do it? And so I would watch Goldcast because they were short clips. I got it. They were short clips that told someone's story about a challenge they experienced and that they had to overcome. So let me look up this one that was just so good to me. And I would watch not just his, but I would watch others' stories as well. They were always short and to the point. And so, even though I'm not trying to do what this person or what the person's story is that I'm trying to do, like I'm not trying to be the best cake maker. I'm not trying to, create a whole new Disney world and all the things. I'm trying to do something different. But what was the characteristic that helped them continue to win? Okay, they were determined. They didn't allow anything to stop them. They ran into all these obstacles and they kept going. What did they think about? It was a lady who swam. I can't remember if she swam like all the way from the United States to some other place, but she swam like the farthest distance in an ocean. And of course, that takes practice and it takes time. Well, I'm not a swimmer. I can barely swim, right? But what she did was she kept thinking of the ending in mind. She kept thinking about where she's trying to get to, what she's trying to. I'm trying to tell you, it was so good. And so I would watch these stories and I would find out what what was the thing that just kept them motivated to keep going. Like what was some of the challenges that they faced, and not just, oh, they overcame the challenge, but how did they overcome it? What did they think about? How did they, when the children of Israel were going from one place to the other, like what was the motivating factor to keep them moving? Yes, they prayed to God. Yes, God showed up every day and gave them manna. Yes, he was giving them miracles and all the things. But they were running away from the worst life, right? Being the slaves and all the things. but they were running to the promised land. And so they were focusing on, they had both things that they were focusing on. They were focusing on, I want my kids to have a better life, and I don't want them to have to experience what we experienced when we were back there. So, okay, I found one of the stories that I remember watching. Let me see if any of them are shorts, and maybe I'll be able to play this video for you. But I always think about, if they're able to overcome and they face these challenges, why can't I figure out how to make the next 20 sales? Why can't I continue to show up and make these videos on a regular basis? Why can't I do my part? God is not a respecter of person. If they were able to win in the midst of their struggles and their things, then I too can win. Why would he have given me this purpose or this passion or this thought to do, and I know it's here to help people, if I'm not able to do it? I'm able to do it. I just have to do it, right? I heard today, and it was the interesting thing. The man said, if you have the faith that you're supposed to do a thing, but you're not doing the work to make the thing come about, then your faith is dead, because faith without works is dead. So if you're not doing the work to show up to accomplish the goal, then your faith is for naught. It's not going to do anything. I thought that was so good. So I found the guy that is just one of the many, many, many stories, because every person, it does not matter if they're famous or not, there's something that they had to overcome. To learn how to tie your shoes, you had to do it over and over and over. Maybe you tripped and fell when you were, when you were running or walking, when you were a kid. In order to learn how to drive, it took time for you to get good at it. And so to be able to watch and hear other people's story of how they overcame and how they kept going, it makes you, or at least it makes me, be motivated to keep going as well, because I was able to see the other side of their determination. So let me share this with you. And hopefully it will do the same for you. It's relatively short. I know you can probably watch his whole situation, and it's so good if you go back and check it out. Here it is. So I found it in Facebook. Let's see if we can get it to share.
I stand from man because of the bad days in my life. You without arms and legs, but a very strong man because of the bad days in my life. You know how it is. If you didn't go what you've gone through, you wouldn't be who you are today. And I'm not belittling your pain, and don't worry, I've seen pain in my life, and I've seen not only in my life, but people's lives, and people say, well, at least I have no arms, no legs, and then what am I supposed to say? Well, at least I'm not an African orphan who's dying at 4 years old, and I met that person. You may have arms and legs, but unless you know three things. Number one, who are you and what your value is? Number two, what is your purpose here in life? And number three, what is your destiny when you're done here? If you don't know the answers of any of those three questions, you're more disabled than I.
Now, if you can find his full story and watch it, he was born with no arms and legs. Of course, he had to figure out how to move through life so he could still accomplish and do the things that he wanted to do and that he knew he was supposed to do. And so he did all these things. He ended up getting married. I think he has kids now. And so to hear his story about how he overcame, that is so motivational, right? At least it was for me. So what are you going to allow to motivate you today? What you're working towards and what is deep inside of you is something that has to go out so it can help someone else. It's something that the next person can see you doing the thing and say, I can do it too. I have that problem too. So don't allow that to stop you. When Jesus walked the earth, he had many problems. He did not allow that to stop him. So how dare we sit and say, I can't show up. I'm not getting the result I'm supposed to get. I can't keep doing it, because it's bigger than us. I see you next Motivational Monday.